Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe des E-Talk und ich habe jetzt eine neue Company bei mir, das ist die Metallic Minerals. Symbol in Frankfurt ist 9MM1. Greg Johnson ist Chairman und CEO bei der Company und ich habe eigentlich nicht wirklich geplant gehabt, dass wir sich hier ein Interview machen, aber ich habe ihn gestern getroffen bei einem Abendevent und wir haben heute ein bisschen gesprochen und er hat mich dann gesagt, was seine letzten Bohrergebnisse waren und das waren 800 Meter in Mineralisierung. Am Ende dieser Mineralisierung waren sie im High-Grade Kupfer, Gold und Platin haben sie auch noch gehabt und das sind natürlich Zahlen, die hört man eigentlich nicht wirklich oft. Und deswegen habe ich ihn gebeten, ob er heute Zeit hat, dass er mit mir ein Interview macht. Und deswegen sitzt er jetzt da und er wird uns jetzt einmal erklären, wo das Projekt ist, wie er zu dem kommt und was sie jetzt vor allem weiter tun. Greg, thank you for your time. I said in my German introduction, we met us yesterday. It was not planned. It was not, and this interview was also not a kind of script. But you said to me, your last drill results was 800 meters in mineralization, and in the last 5 meters you come in really in high grade with high numbers of copper, gold. Palladium, I think, or
platinum and palladium. Yeah,
platinum and palladium. So, and these are numbers that not really you don't see this too often.
This is uncommon in a good way.
Uncommon.
Yeah. The big copper porphyries, which are these intrusive related deposits that produce some of the biggest operating mines for copper globally. They kind of occur in a continuum from pure copper to copper with some molybdenum, sometimes with gold and silver, and then sometimes at the one end of the continuum you can get very high precious metals, so they can come with silver and gold and platinum and palladium. Though typically those numbers are quite small, so these to have multi-gram gold plus platinum and palladium and silver, it's really exceptional.
But first, most important is where you are based.
Yes.
I think start with from the beginning where you are based. Why is the project so interesting for you? And was this one of your first holes, or it is a longer development? So that it's not a lucky shot. It was not a lucky shot, it was really you do the right work, and it's ended up then really nicely.
Yeah. So. In metallic minerals, this project we picked up in 2019, but as in many projects, it has a long history. So this is a district that was actually discovered in the 1700s by the Spanish for its high-grade silver.
Okay.
In the 1800s, the individual miners come in with their pick and their shovel, and they're mining these extremely high-grade silver-gold telluride deposits, so veins and structures at surface. There's 90-some deposits that get developed that way. Those high-grade deposits circle an area of this intrusion, which we call a porphyry, which porphyry is just a term that means you have both coarse-grained crystals and fine-grained, and it tells you it's a very tectonically active area that these intrusions come in, and those deposits are associated with a lot of metal content, these intrusions. So 1950s, after World War II, the small miners are no longer there, but Rio Tinto, one of the world's largest, comes into the district, and they recognize, these veins surround this big porphyry system, and so they drill about 20 drill holes. In 1950, copper was less than 50 cents a pound. So they would have been looking for much higher grade copper concentrations over bulk tonnage widths. Didn't quite see that, but it was a very interesting system. A couple of smaller groups come in the 60s, and then in the 1970s, Phelps Dodge, which today is Freeport-McMoRan, they merged those two companies a few years ago, they came into the district recognizing, this is a really interesting porphyry. They drilled another 30 drill holes in the system. Then they sit on it, and this is common that sometimes these majors will have a big project and it just kind of gets warehoused. They don't do work, they don't have a project champion. For whatever reason, these can just kind of sit on the shelf, if you will. 2002, the bottom of the last copper market cycle, when copper was sub 65 cents US a pound, they sell the asset to a couple of astute investors. They then own the claims, and they're marketing it a bit. A couple of juniors look at it, but they don't really have the experience. they came to us, say, you guys are the former Nova Gold Resources team. You guys are the ones who had all the success at Galore Creek, which is now one of the world's largest undeveloped copper gold porphyries in British Columbia. That's now been sold to Teck and Newmont 50-50. And this project looks a lot like Galore, precious metal rich porphyry. Why don't you guys take a look? So we took a look at it and we said, wow, a porphyry system in the southwestern United States that hasn't seen exploration for 50 years? Yes, we're interested. So right place, right time, our team comes in. We immediately start to do our tool set, which is collecting systematic information, geophysical, geochemical, sampling, mapping to understand the system. And very quickly we realized this is an exceptional system. It's got a 10 square kilometer alteration footprint. You can see it from space, literally, of the system. 54 drill holes that make up this historic drilling by these majors, but in a much lower metal price environment. So today's environment, the kind of grades they were seeing, very interesting. And the opportunity that they hadn't really sampled for precious metals in the day because they weren't as much significance back then. So we came in, did the first work to confirm, okay, this historic drilling was good. We could put it into what we call a modern 43-101 resource. So we drilled some confirmatory holes. We sampled underground in some of the workings to confirm that this old data was good. Very good quality, of course, Rio Tinto and Freeport. And with that, we were able to table the first project resource in 2022, the spring of 22.
Okay, so there is already a resource there.
Yeah, 1 billion pounds of copper completely open in all directions. And that's at about a 0.39% copper grade. So that concentration is very significant in terms of many of the operating mines in North America are lower grade than that. So already off to a great start. Then our team said, okay, these are big systems. How do we focus our exploration? So one of the challenges, for our exploration team is to know, okay, we have a lot of places we could drill holes, so where do we drill the next hole? So what we did is we have this about a kilometer high resource, about 400 meters wide, and about a kilometer of length, so a kind of a rectangular shape. And so we set up on top of this and we said, let's drill away from the resource, away from the known, to determine vectors. Which way is getting better grade? Which way should we be directing our drilling? So one hole went to the south, and from surface to 900 meters hit continuous porphyry mineralization, but a bit lower grade. So that tells us, okay, the system's getting a little weaker in that direction. The hole to the north, though, started in mineralization right from the surface, 815 meters where we had some drilling problems. We had to shut the hole down, but the hole just kept getting higher and higher grade as we went deeper into the system.
So looks at the source coming from this side?
Very commonly, it's open to the east and north and deeper, and that's quite common in these porphyries. They tend to be quite vertical, extensive, and oftentimes the grade gets better as you get deeper. So with it ending in these spectacular grades, multi-percent copper and multi-grams of gold plus platinum and palladium, it's a really strong indication. It's a powerful system. It's already got scale that's measured in kilometers, and we've now drilled not only the top hole ever drilled in that system, it's one of the top holes drilled in North America in the last several years. And personally, in my career, having been involved in half a dozen major discoveries, it's one of the top holes ever drilled in my career.
So, but this means this was not a lucky shot. That was a long period where many companies working on it find something, but it was not good enough, or it was not high grade enough for them. For sure, 60 years ago, it was looking totally
very different environment. Yes,
very different. It's also like when you look at the gold mines or silver mines, what we have 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the grades what we have are much higher than they're looking now. Remember me, some silver companies, they say everything under 500 grams per ton is nothing.
Yes.
It's not interesting for us. We're looking for more. And now a lot of mines are operated with 100, 200 grams per ton, and they are lucky and can make money out of it.
That's right.
So, but this was the history. You find it, you hit it. But what was the reaction on the market of this really great number?
So as you're probably aware, and many of your listeners are probably aware, the junior sector, the explorer-developer end of the mining space, has been consolidating for the last 2 years. A lot of times you issue news and
No
no
reaction,
response,
no.
or even it's used as sellers looking to get out.
Yeah, it's a liquidity event.
Liquidity event, as we say, yes. In this case, not only did the market respond favorably, we were up 50% for the week, and yet our market cap at less than 50 million is still quite modest. You know, the peer deposits in the region that have this type of mineralization are $100+ million market cap, some as high as $1 billion. So I think it's very early days for metallic minerals, very early days for our team. We're in the planning stages now to follow up this spectacular hole. We'll be probably drilling about 10,000 meters starting in the spring, so lots of news. And because these two holes are so significant in terms of their grade, we're going to be able to update the resource that we published last spring with these drill results. And it's going to do two things. The area that we drilled through the resource, where it was estimated but no drilling, it will upgrade the grade of the resource. So the grade will go up. We'll be able to add gold and platinum and palladium to the resource, so there'll be more value, and it grew in terms of the size. So we've expanded the resource and we've increased the grade, so the total contained metal will be higher. And that will form the framework that our team will use to then design the exploration program for this spring. And it should be quite exciting. As you can imagine, the team can't wait to get on the ground and start testing
this result. Do you have enough money? Exploration is not cheap. Do you have enough money, or do you plan now a raise? Or?
So right now we've got about $2.5 million in the treasury, which is a good amount of money. Certainly enough to undertake a program. We're having discussions with our existing shareholder base. Some of those have warrants from past financing, so we're saying, do you want to exercise these early? So we really like to, once we have shareholders that we know, we like to talk to them and let them know what we're thinking. And in this opportunity, we talk to them, would you like to exercise this early? It would allow us to do this, this, and this. Depending on those discussions, we may decide, do we need to raise a bit more before summertime for the next program, or can we wait till fall? But at this point, we're in good shape to do our planning, to get things kicked off, and then we'll see if there's an opportunity that makes sense and whether we need to raise additional capital right away or not.
It's unbelievable. Then, as I said, this kind of numbers is really unusual.
Very unusual, yes. And they really is an indicator. We're already seeing here at the show at PDAC, the interest by the big mining companies, because these kind of discoveries are very rare. And to be so well located in the southwestern U.S., right on a road, near large smelters and operating mines, this is the kind of situation that is not only a great discovery, but in a good location.
Yeah. Wow. Greg, thank you for the first introduction to your company. I think you say everything what we need as an investor, that we really like the story. Das war, leider gibt es schon wieder ein bisschen einen Sturm da herinnen auf der PDAC. Das war das erste Intro von Metallic Minerals, und er hat ja gesagt, 800 Meter haben sie gebohrt und sie sind immer besser geworden. Sie haben sie haben bereits eine bestehende Ressource. Das ist auch nicht über Nacht gekommen. Das ist bereits... You are the fifth operator on this project, or the sixth? Or
well, the two big companies, Rio Tinto, Freeport, 3 or 4 other smaller companies. So, early in my career at Barrick, we actually did a study that showed most operating mines, big ones today, have 5 or 6 companies that come in and work on them.
Before.
So you build on the work of the first, and you build on the work of the second, and the average is 5 or 6 companies before a mine is found. So we're right where we should be.
That's right. So, also der Erfolg ist nicht über Nacht gekommen, und das war auch nicht irgendwie ein Lucky Shot, sondern das hat in den 50er Jahren schon angefangen, und eigentlich ist es noch viel, viel größer, die History, weil es im 17. Jahrhundert die Spanier schon dort gearbeitet haben, aber haben noch hochgradig Gold und Silber gearbeitet oder gesucht, und Rio Tinto und the second Freeport waren die zwei, die eigentlich daran gearbeitet haben, und die haben 20 Bohrlöcher und 30 Bohrlöcher gemacht, und anhand dieser 20 und 30 Bohrlöcher konnten sie eine Ressource machen können, die den erforderlichen 43101 Standard gehabt haben. Das heißt, sie haben alles genau angeschaut, Nummer analysiert, so damit sie das eher von 43101 Standard bringen können, und das war schon 1 Billion, also 1 Milliarde Tonne. Das ist schon extrem hoch, and the average grade is...
Well, the current resource is about just under 0.4% copper.
Okay, ist knapp unter 0,4%, was gut ist. Das ist besser als viele andere Minen operativ arbeiten. So, und sie haben aber gesagt, das sieht man auch ich muss mal anschauen, vom Satelliten an sieht man scheinbar diese Intrusion. Und das muss man da, you see it from the
You
satellite.
can see it from the satellite imagery. Yeah.
Okay, I will try this and maybe see if I can see it. Und das ist halt ein Riesenteilgebiet. Und sie haben mir dann die alten Daten sich angeschaut und gesagt, wir wissen nicht, woher das tatsächlich kommt, wo wird es besser, wo wird es schlechter. Also lass uns einfach auf der Spitze ansetzen und wir bohren einmal nach Süden, einmal nach Norden und dadurch schauen wir einfach, wie die Daten ausschauen. Und die im Süden, die sind eigentlich schwächer geworden und sagen, die Richtung ist es eher nicht. Jetzt haben sie nach Norden gebohrt und dort sind die Grades immer besser und besser geworden und sie sind dann sozusagen die letzten 5 Meter im hochgradigen Bereich übergeblieben mit mehreren Prozent Kupferanteil, aber auch Gramm von Gold, Platin und Palladium. Und das ist das Untypische, denn normalerweise ist das nur immer eine kleine Credits, was du hast, aber das sind im Grammbereich und das sind absolut untypische Zahlen. Warum haben sie nicht weitergebohrt? Weil das Bohrgerät eingegangen ist. Also die Bodenkonditionen waren so schlecht, dass dann das Bohrloch abgebrochen werden hat müssen. Deswegen planen sie heuer 10 Bohrlöcher zu machen. How deep you will go with these drills this year?
Yeah, so we were actually targeting to be a 1,000 meter or deeper hole. So we'll go in there to make sure we've got the right size equipment to be able to go at least to that depth.
Okay, and then you drill and you see when you're still in the mineralization, you go deeper.
You want to be able to go deeper. You don't want to have to stop.
Yeah.
So we'll be set up to drill, over 1,000 meters.
Okay.
And in this style of deposit, often these are mined what we call block cave underground. So you come in underneath them from the valley bottom, and you let the gravity do the work of it dropping down. And these are some of the biggest mines operating today will operate this way.
Yeah. Also sie schauen dann, dass auch, das ist mir jetzt schon natürlich weit vorgegriffen, aber es ist natürlich so, dass das mit einem Block-Caving-Modell dann abgebaut werden soll. Und also so weit sind die Pläne schon, aber das heißt nicht, dass nächstes Jahr dort eine Mine steht. Aber man darf nicht vergessen, das ist im Süden von den USA. Es ist mit der perfekten Infrastruktur, also Straßen dort, die Smelter sind in der Nähe und das sind einfach die Zahlen, die auf die Großen ausschauen. Und mit diesem Bohrloch sind sie auch jetzt schon unter den besten Bohrlöchern, die es in Nordamerika gegeben haben. Und das zieht natürlich die Leute an. Wenn die jetzt noch das Ganze bestätigen und erweitern können, dann kann man natürlich vorstellen, dass die Firma wahrscheinlich nicht so lange rund am Markt ist. What is your actual market cap?
We're trading at the 30-cent Canadian range right now, with 150 million shares out. We'd be right around $50 million. Yeah.
So, und das Ganze kriegt man für $50 Millionen. Das ist nicht lang, wird die Firma dort in dem Bereich sein. Sie hat jetzt einen guten Move gehabt aufgrund dieses Bohrloches, aber das kann nicht das Ende sein, denn wo so ein Bohrloch ist, da gibt es auch noch mehr und sie haben schon eine Milliarde Tonnen, das darf man nicht vergessen, und das ist extrem interessant und extrem spannend. Deswegen war für mich auch ganz klar, dass ich mit dieser Company ein Interview machen wollte. Ja, das war's von Metallic Minerals, Greg Johnson in PDAC 2023 und tschüss und baba. Thank you.
Thank you so much.